What if you could send one email a day and build a business that brings in leads, clients, and cash without chasing every new social media trend? On today's Present Influence, I'm joined by the one name wonder of email marketing, Kennedy. If you're a coach, speaker, or entrepreneur who is tired of dancing for the algorithm and ready to build a reliable, high converting list, this conversation is for you. We're going to get into the psychology behind why people aren't buying like they used to, how email builds real trust in a world full of BS, and why a small email list can still make you a big income. Oh, and Kennedy shares some killer techniques for turning live audiences and social media followers into subscribers who actually buy. You won't want to miss a single minute of it. So let's get into it. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to Present Influence. I can hardly tell you how excited I am to welcome into my virtual studio the man who only needs one name because he's that big of a star and a celebrity in the email marketing world. It's Kennedy. Welcome, Kennedy.
Hey, John. Lovely to see you.
I'm very excited to be talking to you. You've been on my guest wish list for a long time. And when we finally got introduced by a mutual connection, it was just a very easy, let's do this, let's make it happen. And you were like, yeah, let's go for it. So I'm really happy. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for the invite. I'm super excited. I can't believe it's taken us this long to realize we should do this. I feel naughty.
I feel like this is such an important thing as well because I don't think that many people I know of in the space really have ever focused on what you do and how you help people with building up email lists and as a way to stay connected with people and to grow your audience, your authority, and of course your income as well to make money from an email list. They don't necessarily need to go into how you ended up getting into email marketing so much as to what it is that you are doing with your clients now that's helping them with this and why email marketing is so important.
I don't know if it's, and in fact, I know I'm not alone. I've been speaking to a lot of entrepreneurs over the last few weeks. And one of the things that a common thread is, and I'm sure listeners and viewers of this will have been noticing the same thing, which is people are taking longer and longer to say yes to working with us than they've ever taken. What used to be a quick, oh yeah, let's go for it. Whether you're a coach or whatever kind of business you have, it used to be a quick yes. And now it's a lot more thought, a lot more time needed. And I think one of the big shifts that has happened in all of our psychology, because my background is psychology rather than being a professional marketer, I ended up getting good at marketing because of my background in psychology. But the thing that is happening is we've all been overpromised and underdelivered. We've all got excited about something that we think was finally the big solution that's really going to help us to live our wildest dreams, only to have those mushed into a little pulp when they underdelivered, or more importantly, that we just didn't deliver it ourselves. You know, like sometimes we fell off the wagon or we weren't good enough at the thing. And what's really interesting when that happens is it just now means that all of us think again before investing. Not just the money, but the time that you're going to put into this next program, this next project. You know, it's like we were thinking about moving house recently, and then we were like, well, do we want to do the garden or are we going to move house? Like, what are we going to invest this time into? And people seem to be doing that with buying decisions a lot more than they've ever done in the history of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And are the cats happy to move or are they? So
The
cute.
cats don't like being told what to do. I've got two Bengal cats, right? They are sisters. They're called Nova and Ivy. They're absolutely beautiful, but they're fine. They're happy if you don't tell them what to do. But if you say you've got to go in your box because we're going to the vet or you're going on your holidays, which, you know, we travel fairly regularly, and they just look at us and they make noises like we are the most evil, horrible people ever. But yeah, so I think moving house, no, they wouldn't like it because they don't like the people what to do job.
But yeah, prospects can feel a bit like that sometimes, I guess, and our audience can feel a bit like they're trying to herd cats and the likes. And I've heard a number of people in the marketing world recently talking about trust deficit in the market. What makes email marketing special or important in that?
Look, what's happening is because of what people are coining to be this trust deficit, it just means that all of the bullshit that's been happening that people used to get away with by making these grandiose promises, then they got found out. It just means that people who continuing to do that are getting found out faster. And that's happening across everything with celebrities, with marketers. That wasn't even his Lamborghini he was sat on, all that shit's just coming out. And it was always gonna come out. That's the thing. What's really cool about email marketing, and it's really weird to say, like, email marketing is cool because I don't know if it's exactly cool, but what I really appreciate about it is there is nothing else in this world where I could be sat on the balcony on holiday looking over the Ramble in Barcelona like we were last summer, and I can type words, I can press buttons on a keyboard and immediately take my thoughts and put them into somebody else's mind just by pressing send and it popping up on their phone. And I can do that in a way where I own the data. So if Zuckerberg wakes up tomorrow morning and Zuckerberg gets up every morning, and the way I think of it is he gets up every morning and he plays with his knobs. That's the way I think of Zuckerberg. Because that's what he does with the algorithm. He gets up and he fiddles with his knobs. And I'm like, put it down. It'll fall off. Right? So, because we're all victims to these algorithms. We're going to prioritize stories. No, we're not. We're going to prioritize reels. Now we're going to do trial reels. Now we're going to say that Facebook groups are big. No, they're not. Facebook pages are big again. Oh my God, I'm sick of trying to keep up and play their game. I don't want to play their game. I don't know about you. I'm trying to do everything else in my business. Like, I don't just sit all day and write emails. Of course I don't. I've got products to create. I've got clients to deliver for. I've got podcasts and friends like this to hang out with. I've got all these lovely things to do. Email, social media is just part of it. Bringing in sales is just part of it. What's really nice is the credibility around email has gotten tighter over the past 12 months. Finally, like 20 years ago when I started online, I could have, full disclaimer, I did not, but I could have sent emails as payments@paypal.com because
Yeah.
without anyone trying to stop me. That could have
Wow.
happened, and I'm sure there were lots of naughty people out there doing that.
Yeah.
Now we've got a bunch more verification, a bit more validation, a bit more security, which means we can now get our emails delivered into people's inboxes, which are basically being read on people's phones these days when they're out and about, while they're waiting to pick the kids up, while they're waiting for their partner to come home from their job. And we can send messages to people in a way that is not victim to the algorithm. And also, if you try and cheat the algorithm or try and do things to have more visibility on the algorithm, and they give you a slap and postpone or delete your account, which is happening multiple times a day to people who I know I've got like 5,000 subscribers one day, followers one day, and they've got no account the next day. Well, you can't download your Instagram followers and upload them to LinkedIn and carry on business as usual. No. Whereas if I fall out with active campaign for whatever reason, I accidentally do something naughty and I wasn't aware was naughty, because that can happen, or they just have a malfunction and they don't know why it's gone wrong, which you hear all the time on shut down Instagram accounts. We don't know why it's being blocked, but it's just the
Right.
algorithm. Fine, but I can if I have a Barney with an active campaign, I can download that and put it into Go High Level. No problem. I've got the data. I own the data. And when you are emailing, you can email as frequently as you want. You own that data. You can build those relationships. And there's nothing like it in the world.
Well, it's going to take me a while to scrub that mental image of Zuckerberg fiddling with his knobs out my brain. But one of the
I can't wait to see the
reasons,
thumbnail for this episode.
yeah, it should be good. One of the reasons why I was attracted to what you do and why I joined your community to come and learn from you was because I felt like it was always that thing of chasing different social media. Oh, Threads has just started up. You got to go over there and start. You can go and dominate on Threads, as well. And then it would be something else, or Blue Sky, or whatever else. And it's like always trying to chase these different social media things and seeing what throwing all the spaghetti at it and hoping something sticks. And no, now I try to just stick to, like with social media, just stick to LinkedIn and YouTube and whatever else goes out, I don't care about. But I didn't feel like I had control over that the same way you can do with your email marketing list, that you can be freer in what you send out to them. You can in some ways do more value, less restriction,
Mm.
more control of it. Everything about it was just more attractive. But can you perhaps say, because I know you have speakers and coaches in your community other than me, what do they generally say as being the reasons why they come to this and the benefits they experience?
It's a really interesting thing because, I mean, talking about, yeah, we have clients, we have lots of clients like yourself who are speakers, who are coaches, who are consultants, who are helping people with stuff. I love the fact that my work helps people to help more people. Like, there's something just really nice about that. And getting to hear what other people, different people's businesses are, is fascinating to me. But also, I speak a lot. Like, I've got 20 something years. I know I don't do it right, but 20 something
You look younger
years
than me, so yeah, it's been
of speaking on stage experience. Like just this week, in the last 7 days, I've spoken at two different events in the UK, one in London, one in Harrogate in Yorkshire. And speaking on stage is a great way of doing one of the three things that we have to do in our businesses. In fact, I made a video about this on my YouTube channel, which is called the Email Marketing Show, the other day. I'll just basically give you the short version of that. Obviously, if you want to go check out a long version, definitely go do that. But if you want to hear the short version, it's this. In our businesses, as speakers, as coaches, as consultants, as experts who help other people, we only have three things on our plates. And when I realized this, I was like, man alive, the world's easier. The whole business is easier. There's only three things. The first of three is we've got to build an audience. So where are you doing that? Well, I'm doing that on my YouTube channel for the Email Marketing Show. I also do it on the podcast version of the Email Marketing Show. So that's why I'm building my audience. That's one of the things I'm doing. You might take that to another level. It's like a semi sort of halfway house place where you might have a place where, like, so for example, off the back of our podcast, I created a free community on Facebook called the Email Marketing Show Community, which people sort of move from the listen to the podcast, they search the Email Marketing Show Community on Facebook and they join that. So we've got the audience building that. And actually, what's quite nice about a Facebook group still is it organically does grow. So that's still working, by the way. A lot of people are like, oh, leave Facebook and come and join school. Those people are the people who are selling school, just so you know.
right.
That's who they are. So you've got your audience building. And that might, for you, so for John and I, that's our YouTube channels, it's our communities. For you, that might be your Instagram. For you, it might be your LinkedIn. It's wherever you're building. It's where the strangers are. It's where you're finding brand new strangers who you're going to warm up and introduce yourself to. Second thing on your plate as a business owner, which is what we are, by the way. Wow, amazing. A business owner. Crazy. I didn't want to be
Yeah.
one. None of us did, by the way. We're all
No.
just, oh shit, here we are. But the second thing you got to do is convert. So your audience is the first third. Second third is convert. You've got to convert that audience into paying customers. That's what we've got to do. The best way in the world of doing that, and this is not me, this is not my opinion, this is facts based on actual data. The number one way to make sales for businesses, whether you're wanting to make 10 grand a year as a side hustle or 10 million a year, is email marketing. It's the number one sales driver in the world, whether you're selling really high ticket, high touch product or small ticket or reoccurring things like memberships and subscriptions. We've got lots of fitness people in our world who, again, have membership subscriptions, or one off. Email marketing over and over again. The third piece is serving the customers. It's the only thing we need to do. We need to build our audience, we need to convert the audience, and we need to serve and deliver results for our customers. That's the only three things we have to do. Once we realize that, we go, great. If we take one of those things, the convert thing, for example, and we say, how are we going to deliver a great job of turning brand new strangers into paying customers? The simplest way that I know of, which doesn't depend on the algorithms, it doesn't depend on anything like that, is to get people onto your email list. Show up regularly so they know they can trust you to be there when they do buy from you. Because if you're showing up regularly when they're not buying from you, you're going to show up regularly and deliver for them when they do buy from you, right? Show up and show them what you're like. So I swear a lot in my coaching calls. I swear a lot in real life. So in my emails, I swear a lot because I would rather offend people before they paid me. I don't want somebody getting a surprise. Oh, he's squeaky clean. Old, Dorothy joins and she's really easily offended. And she loves my emails, kind of squeaky clean. She gets my coaching program, and I'm like, "Fucking hell, Dorothy, what you doing?" She's not going to be very happy,
Yeah. It's one of
and
the
that's
things I like about you, Kennedy.
yeah. So because I just like to, I think like I want to be legit. Like when I get excited, I'm gonna express myself excitably. Yeah, but and here's the thing, once you master the email marketing piece, what's really lovely is you basically have taken the conversion third off your plate. And all you then have to do is exactly what I'm doing now, and that is go places to build your audience and spend more time working with your paying customers to get them better results. Which means you get better results. People stick around for longer. People like you more. They tell more people and say you're really good, which builds your audience. And it's a self-fulfilling thing.
It's interesting that the journey into your world was pretty much mine. That I was listening to your podcast. I think it was another mutual friend, Bob Gentle, who recommended your podcast to me in the first place. I started listening to that. Been listening to your show for a long time, and it's interesting. And then I joined the Facebook group, and then I came to one of your events, and then I joined the community. So pretty much that's what happened. You mentioned your YouTube channel, and I know as a regular listener to your show, you seem to have previously been more focused on the audio podcast and the YouTube stuff, and there's more
Mm.
recently seemed to be a shift to YouTube. Maybe that's just my perception, but I'm not gonna go too far down the hole with that, but what has been the reason for that?
I don't know about you, but I think many coaches, certainly me, sometimes you just wish you took your own advice. Do you ever do that? You go, I wish I would just do what I'm telling people, that whole thing. So here's what was happening is I've had a podcast. So this one, email marketing show, I had one before that, but I had an email marketing show for 280 episodes, right? So 280 weeks of talking about email marketing on this podcast. For a long time, maybe the last 2 years, people have been saying to me, "Oh, you've got a podcast. What would be your advice to be to people if they were starting a podcast?" And every single time, I would say, I would do it on YouTube first if I was starting again, because there's discoverability there. Whereas
Right.
there's some discoverability on Spotify and a little bit on Apple Podcasts if you
It's
search for
painful though.
it's painful. I mean, I purposely named it the email marketing show just so that I had email marketing in the title. So
Yeah.
I know we do find people, because I get feedback from people that says I was searching for email marketing on my podcast and this came up. And because it's got it bang in the middle and pretty much nothing else in the title, it really ranks quite well. So that was strategically done. But then it was January this year, January 2025. I thought, how long are you going to keep giving this advice without taking it, Kennedy? How long are you going to do this? And then so I just started in planning mode. I was like, okay, what do we have to do to transition to being YouTube first, audio second? And that's what I did. And it was lots of tiny little changes. And change is difficult for all of us. Like changing your habits is difficult for all of us. But I just made lots of tiny changes, created a new process for making the show. And I record it as if it's just a video, but I keep in the back of my mind, will this still make sense when we strip just the audio out? We do a slightly different edit, very, very slightly different edit for the audio than the video. I've just put a team in place, some good freelancers, had a system, and put processes in place. And yeah, I mean, I'm only a baby on YouTube. I think I'm like 8 or 9 episodes in. I just,
Right.
this week got 10,000 views, whoop-de-doo, but I
Right.
celebrated it anyway.
Yeah, look, it's big. I mean, to someone who's been on YouTube a while, I mean, that sounds pretty big. And like my YouTube channel is very small. But like yourself, I'm leaning into that channel because I'm just so frustrated with the slowness of podcasts in general, the lack of discoverability there. I've had such big boosts on YouTube recently with watches and people tuning into it and more people discovering the channel.
And
The
don't you think
subscription
as
rates
well,
going
like,
up.
John,
Yeah.
did you think this as well? Like, you get comments on YouTube.
Right.
Like, I didn't realize how important that was to me to have some public gratification. I think it's the speaker in me, the guy who likes to get the applause on stage or the praise
Yeah.
afterwards. You kind of get, I mean, I don't get lots. I get 1 or 2 comments, don't get me wrong. But those, I'm like, it's the most important thing.
Right. I mean, Spotify started bringing some of that stuff in, but I
Have they?
don't know if anyone's really using that. I put stuff
Yeah.
up there and it's been sort of like a tumbleweed, really. Not much
Yeah. I
response
wouldn't
at
even
all.
know where to look for Spotify comments. I haven't got a
I
clue.
think that's the case with most people, unless you're actually publishing your show with Spotify, which thankfully I don't. But yeah, it's just curious because seeing myself, knowing that I'm sort of leaning into that channel more now, seeing people
Yeah.
like I guess people like Taki Moore, who also is very much focusing on the YouTube much more now. It just seems like interesting that you are as well, and that people are making that shift.
Well, I'll tell you the person who
Yeah.
really inspired me to do it. I'm going to do a little name drop here, which is not usually my style, but this is the gravitas that really it took to get me to get my finger out my arse and do it. And that was, it was Ryan Dice. It was a conversation with
Okay.
Ryan Dice of Digital Marketer, the Scalable Group. Um, and he had some great advice, and I'll just reshare this here because if it unlocks something in somebody else, I think he would be really, really happy for me to, I hope he would be happy for me to share it because it wasn't a private conversation. But I was asking him about his YouTube channel. How often do you post? And he said these words, which gave me the most amazing permission ever. He said, "Every single week, apart from when I don't." Which basically means if shit hits the fan and or you're busy or something's going on and you can't post, or in the same case, if you can't email, I email like this might be shocking to some people, but I email every single day. Every single day, I show up with some value, a story that people want to hear because they want to learn how to grow their business with email marketing, make more sales, bring in more clients. But I've given myself the permission, like I do that every single day apart from the days I don't. Now, I'm not gonna give that my ultimate excuse of, like, I'm not gonna email for 3 days in a row because I can't be bothered. No, because I can those days. But if I'm flying back, like, I remember I was flying back from doing a keynote at some marketing thing in Las Vegas, and because of there was a flight delay, then 8-hour time difference, and then it's a 14-hour flight, it just meant that 24-hour period, I didn't send an email. I'm okay with it.
Right. But then because people often in your community are expecting your emails, do you then find yourself receiving emails saying, "Hey, what's going on?
Oh,
Where's my
yeah. Is
email?"
Kennedy okay? Oh, yeah, I get health checks all the time. I feel like I've got lots of mums and dads, you know?
That's kinda nice. It's like you want people to miss you being in their inbox. I know from my own perspective, and probably for many of the people who do come and work with you, it seems like maybe one of the things that might put people off from the email marketing is the idea that it might be really hard to do, that building up your list on email marketing is like, what level would how do you get people in? What level do you need to build it up to be able to make some money from it? All these things that if you don't know, it might seem like it's probably gonna be kind of huge and something that might not be seen as easily achievable as maybe trying to make something go viral on YouTube or Instagram.
You're dead right, obviously. Yeah, I mean, you are dead, dead right. And I think it's because we think we need to have this huge email list in order to make any money. But the truth is, we don't. I mean, I'll give you my first person proof, not even the client. This was me. Started this business, wanted to help other people with email marketing because I find it enjoyable because I'm very strange. Because I find it really enjoyable. I started this thing. I started with a podcast, the same one I was talking about, and the Facebook group that went with it. We had 1,500 people in the Facebook group and less than 5,000 email subscribers when we did multiple six figures in sales. And we did not have a high ticket offer. I think at the time, I may have this wrong, so I don't have the data in front of me, so please forgive me. But from what I can think, I think the highest price thing we even sold at the time, we had a membership that was $67 a month. And I think we had another little course that was $300 one time. We were able to do that because the real aim of the game is not to collect as many email subscribers as possible. They're not Pokemon. You don't have to catch them all, right? What you have is to turn as many customers as you possibly can. That's the game. So if you are a coach with a higher ticket item, 2,000, 5,000, 10, 25, $50,000 offer, which I know many in the coaching space are, then you don't need that many subscribers. You really don't. You just need to get really good at turning subscribers into customers. And I learned how to do this by accident, by the way, because I accidentally, in naivety of as a it must have been 18, maybe 21-year-old, I was fully booked as a performer, and so I had other entertainers asking me how I was fully booked. So I decided to launch a subscription, a membership. It was a print physical newsletter, which I would write and print and mail out every single month. And this was to like the tiny sub percentage of performers who wanted to basically turn professional and pay their bills and support their families by being entertainers. And I had the biggest list at the time in the industry, and it wasn't very big. It was less than 10,000 people. I think it might have been like 7 or 8,000 people. So, like, it's still a lot of people. Like, imagine 7 or 8,000 people in a room in front of you. It's a bloody load of people. You'd be terrified maybe speaking on that stage. You certainly would just do a few extra vocal warm-ups, wouldn't you? But on a list, that doesn't sound like a lot of people because they kind of like feel like numbers. They're not numbers, they really are people. But in that niche, I was able to make a side hustle income of an extra. I did over $100,000 a year while I was flying to do my own gigs, because I was writing stuff and typing and sending emails and writing stuff while I was in the airport departure lounge, while I was flying to do some gig, or I was in my hotel before the gig or after the gig, or whatever. So you really don't need that many subscribers. When you've got a small list because you're in a small niche, which I was accidentally in a small niche because I didn't know anything to do with understanding what's the size of the total addressable market, also known as TAM, total addressable market. How many people can possibly buy from you? I didn't have any notion of that at all at the age of 22. So I didn't realize I had this tiny total addressable market of people who could potentially buy from me. All I knew was I had, say, 5 or 6,000 people on my email list, and I wanted to make as much money as I possibly could because it doesn't matter. It's the same amount of work for me. I'm still going to type these words. I'm still going to print some stuff off. Still going to go. So I just got good at it by applying all the skills of psychology and body language and stuff that I was using on stage in an after dinner comedy show where I did an after dinner comedy show where I combined psychology with comedy to make it look like I could read people's minds, basically, for conferences, corporations, and that kind of stuff. And I got to do that at a nice level. And I just thought, why don't I apply those skills to email marketing to actually get myself more gigs than I did? Then I started applying those same skills to the email marketing to sell this sort of subscription coaching program. And that worked really, really well. So I just accidentally, just through the circumstance that I found myself in, got good at turning more subscribers into buyers. And then other businesses started saying, hey, could you come and teach it to us as well? And so I did. And that's how I ended up doing what I'm doing, and using those scales. And I think that's probably why my approaches to email marketing are quite very different to what most people are teaching. I don't really get the other way other people are teaching it because that stuff never really worked for me.
I think that's great insight into how you move things along with the journey and why this is important. What I tend to encounter with a lot of people I work with, people who are speakers, coaches, consultants, trainers, they have opportunity potentially to get, they're in front of audiences a lot of the time, many of them. And those are people that could potentially be on the list, but often aren't because they're not doing anything to get them on the list. Or they have dribs and drabs of communities or people on different social media channels. But how do they get them off there and into their email marketing list? So potentially, most people I encounter, they have that, the social media, some social media followings, they have some stuff going on, but mostly they don't have email lists or they're tiny or what they would consider to be insignificant. What's your general advice or recommendation for them to get people off of their other platforms and into their email list?
I think there's two different techniques that I really want to talk about, and I think will be really useful to you. And they're two because they're used in different places at different times. I'll give you something to use that was really effective for getting members of the audience when you are speaking to join your email list. I'll give you a bunch of techniques to do that, which have been incredibly, incredibly effective for me. Just to give you some context on this is not me boasting, just to show you how much I've tested this and sometimes got it wrong, didn't work, and sometimes, oh, I've cracked it and it's worked. Most of the marketing events that have happened in the UK, I've spoken at least once. Many of them have been rebooked to speak time and time again. And I've used these platforms where they've ranged from a few hundred people to multiple thousands of people to bring in leads. Okay. Because generally, not all the time, but generally, you're not getting paid to. Wasn't getting paid to speak at those events. What I was getting was leads and great prospects and great positioning. And of course, some good B roll for a show reel and stuff like that to make myself look lovely and like I've got some kind of authority. So let's speak about that first. And then secondly, I'll show you some techniques on how to get people onto your email list from socials. Because you need to be building your audience somewhere. Your audience might be on socials, it might be at the events you're speaking at. That's all on that audience third of the plate that we were talking about earlier. So events. The big thing I realized way too late, took me so long, and this will save you flipping years and tens of speaking engagements, is if people are engaged with you at an event, then the reason to join your email list, which is called a lead magnet, it's like the reason to go and join. It's the carrot you're dangling, the enticing sugar that you're putting in front of them to say, hey, come and join my email list and you'll get this thing. If someone's at an event, the best thing you can offer them is another event. It's a bit like if somebody buys a video course from you on some element of your coaching business, the best next thing to sell them is another video course because that person has said, I really like learning via video. So in this case, I've done many hundreds, maybe hundreds, but definitely tens of events where at the end I've told them about a cool video course that I've got and had okay numbers of that audience going to my QR code that I put on the screen or going to the URL that I read out and joining my list. But nothing compares to, hey, I've got something cool. I would love to keep teaching you more stuff. Because obviously at this point, they're all saying how much they've loved it. So what I've decided to do, I knew I would run out of time. So I'm decided to do another event for you, but I'm going to do it online and I'm going to do it on Tuesday. So it's like, let's say it's Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday now. On the following Monday or Tuesday, so not a long time because you don't want them to run out of that energy. I'm doing this thing, but rather than having to travel all the way here, I'm going to do it online. So you can all tune in on Zoom, but it's still an event. And you're all invited. This has worked really, really well for me. I did it last night at an event. I did it last week at an event. Like, this is working for me extremely well. I'm actually doing the webinar thing tonight, which is basically I'll do one every couple of weeks. So whatever events I've been speaking at, I can sort of pile 2 or 3 of them together into the one webinar. And
Yeah.
sometimes if I have like a spell when I'm not doing any speaking, I'll just not run the webinar, of course, right? So
Yeah.
that's the big thing. Does that make perfect sense?
And
Yeah.
look, this is fantastic. I've not heard that idea before as a lead magnet from live events, and I get why it works with people. And I think it's something that any speaker could easily schedule with their talks and just have that as becoming that. But I know you talk about habit stacking quite often. It's almost like habit stacking, something you're going to do potentially regularly.
Exactly. I just look at, okay, I've got these events coming up. So I just go and duplicate the pages that I have for my webinar, change the dates on them, and ready to go. Like, okay, cool. At the end of the thing, they're going to QR code. And because these people like showing up to things that are timely, that's the behavior. So why don't we try and push against the behavior? And we're also going to kind of make it a bit easier for them because we know one of the hardest things about live events is getting people to get their asses to the room. So let's remove that. Yes, there's going to be another friction, which is maybe Zoom fatigue, which I think people are not too bad with at the minute, compared to after COVID, when we're all like sick to death of quizzes and stuff, right? So that's really helpful. The other thing that I like to do from stage is, and I do this every time I speak, I can't even help myself. It's just ingrained into the way that I think about stuff. And I've even done it on this podcast, right? Early on, within the first 1/3 of the talk, whether it's on a podcast, a YouTube video, in a live event, in person, at a summit, an online virtual event, I will mention what I call a secondary lead magnet directly in that section. So my secondary lead magnet is my Facebook group, the email marketing show, which I spent a little bit of time earlier on mentioning in the context of something. Now, you've got to do it in a way that is not crude and is not shoehorned. It has to ride along like a sidecar with the point that you're making. So for me, there was a natural reason that we would actually end up talking about it because actually I was using it as a legit illustration.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'll sort of have to say things like, so one of the discussions we had the other week in my Facebook group, the Email Marketing Show community, you're all welcome to join that, by the way, it's totally free. I'll sort of do it like that. And what I have to do, because my background is I trained as an actor, right? Shock horror. I know you can't believe it. You're like, surely not. There's this thing that actors have, which is called the internal dialogue and the motivation. That's what you're trained to have. What is the motivation? Why is he picking up that skull in that scene? Why is he talking to it? And once you know the motivation, it makes it look more natural. So I found it really difficult to say the words my Facebook group, the email marketing show, without it sounding like I was forcing the name of the group into it. And the same with the podcast and the YouTube channel. How do you say that without sounding like you're shoehorning it in? And it's not about practicing how you say it. It's not about coming up with the right words, which is, by the way, what most people think email marketing is. Most people think email marketing is about words.
Mhm.
It is not about the words. The words mean the smallest amount in any communication. All you have to do is say to your partner, "How are you?" and for them to go, "I'm fine." And
Right.
you know that word "fine" can mean anything from "I'm about to murder you in your sleep" to "I love you." Anything on the scale, right? Anything.
Yeah.
So the way that my internal monologue, my motivation for saying those words and saying the name of my soft lead magnet, my YouTube channel or my Facebook group or your podcast or whatever it is in my head. I just imagine that I've got more than one of them and I'm just clarifying which one I'm talking about. So I just think I've got more than one Facebook group, which I actually have because I've got one for our customers and I've got one. So it's not
True.
even
Mhm.
imagining really. It's just being aware of it. So when I say it like I'm just clarifying it. So if you listen to the way that I actually deliver it, I say, so in our Facebook group, the email marketing show community, as if I'm going, it's that one, not this one. So in the first third of the talk, I will always, pretty much always, and if I don't, I curse myself afterwards. But I will always try and get my secondary soft lead magnet into that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at the end, I want to try and do something which is like for like with the medium.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of like the Lady Gaga effect, or like she puts her name into the song, so you know it's Lady Gaga.
I had never thought of that.
'Cause-
Justin Derulo used to do that as well, didn't he?
yeah, yeah,
Justin
a lot of
Derulo.
rappers, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it appears in a lot of music, so you know who's performing and you remember the name. I guess is planting those seeds. Would you say that? I know a lot of people feel that same sort of like trying to. This feels like a crowbar coming in suddenly, rather than a soft, natural part of a conversation. People tend to get that with that and with sales. Is it a similar thing? And like selling from the stage, you know, if you do any sales from the stage, but when you do your events and you go into that, that's when most people seem to get that unnaturalness in the way they
Yeah.
speak. Would that technique kind of work in both scenarios, do you think?
I think so. I mean, I'm not a brilliant salesperson. I think our businesses are either marketing led or they're sales led. And if you've got a marketing led business, the idea is that marketing should make sales superfluous, as somebody once said. Somebody smart, it wasn't me. So that's what I prefer to do because I'm not really a great salesperson. I'm a great presenter. What I'm trying to do, though, and I think we should all be doing this, is I'm trying to constantly, in this phase of my life, I'm 41 this summer, and I'm just in this phase of my life trying to figure out how do I leverage the things I am good at to be good at the things that I don't necessarily think I'm good at? So, how do I leverage the fact that I love teaching and I love having a chat and presenting? How do I use that skill to sell? Or how do I use that skill to be a good leader? Or how to attract the right team members? How do I use the things I am good at as my unfair advantage? And that's what I did on YouTube as well. I was like, well, I'm already experienced at speaking on camera. I'm already experienced at putting together interesting content. Why the hell am I not on YouTube? That makes no sense at all. So that means, oh, and I just realized I didn't cover how to get people on your list from social media. I promise I will
Yeah.
come back to that.
I
Don't
just was thinking,
explode.
oh, are we gonna have time to skip it? Because there's like, there's other things I want to get to as well. But yeah, I would love to.
I'll keep it real quick. What you should do when you're trying to get people from social media to your email list is give them a reason to join your list now. So, hey, if you're not on my email list now, you're going to miss out because tomorrow I'm going to send my email list this really cool resource. If you make your lead magnet like that, and you can do that, then you are going to see more people joining at that moment rather than just an always open evergreen lead magnet.
uh,
It's
Make
exactly.
it like, right, you're only going to get this if you do this now, if you take action now. I like that.
And also, it
Okay,
allows you to
nice and
speak
brief.
to existing subscribers. Like, it's a really nice technique to like talk to your audience as if they're already customers. Like we do this on the podcast a lot as well.
Yeah,
So we'll say like, hey, all of you who are customers, if you go into your members area and you'll see blah 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 thing, everybody else is like, what? They feel like they're hearing the conversation through a glass pinned up against the wall, and it creates that FOMO effect. Yeah.
yeah. I know you talk about this in your own show a lot, and you already mentioned it today that you email your list every day, pretty much, except the days you don't. I think for people like myself, for our listener, is that idea of what every day,
Ooh.
aren't people going to get sick of you? I think you're spamming them. And how do you do that in a way that people aren't going to just be like, oh, this spam? And is every day right for everybody?
Right. It's a great question. And there's a bunch of pieces we could talk about on this, but let's talk about the spam thing first of all. The number one reason people report spam, by the way, is not because they get too many emails, it's because they don't recognize the person who's emailing them. And the fastest way for someone to not recognize who's emailing them is to not email them often enough. So if I get an email from some chump this morning and I'm like, who the hell's that? How am I on their email list? It's because they haven't emailed me enough. The second piece is you don't want that to be a surprise that we're going to get emails from me every single day. So I sell people on the fact that when you join my email list, I'm going to show up. I'm going to put the work into sending you a new piece of advice, a tip, some inspiration to help you make more sales from the email subscribers you do have. So you don't need as many subscribers. Do you want to hear about that every single day? If you do, come on in. If you don't, please don't bother. And anybody who's like, oh gosh, yeah, I would really like to earn more from my existing subscribers, so I don't even need to bring in that many. You want to hear about those things, so you're going to join the list. That's the thing. No one likes surprises. It's my girlfriend's birthday coming up, and I've bought her a great gift. I can't tell you what it is because she's like begging me, like, "What is it? I hate surprises. What is it? What is it?" So I think nobody likes surprises at all. So tell them, and tell them multiple places. First of all, you're going to tell them before they sign up. So that's not going to be a surprise. Then you're going to tell them again in that first welcome email. Hey, welcome to my world. Here's what to expect. 1, I'm going to email you every remind them. 2, here's where my podcast is. 3, go and get my whatever. 4, go watch my, orientate people. But one of those things in that first email, that welcome email, should be a reminder of that. And then, of course, the other thing is there's a lovely unsubscribe link at the bottom of your emails where they can leave. I was saying this last night actually in the bar. I was saying, I think email marketing is really great as long as you're not kidnapping or holding people hostage. And by that, that's me being purposefully evocative to really drive this point home of kidnapping in email marketing is scraping people's email addresses and put them on your email list without permission. Holding them hostage is not letting them off when they want to be, not having an unsubscribe link or burying the unsubscribe link. Big pet peeve of mine when people put a million cabbage returns at the bottom of an email rather than just letting me, because that's a really good way of getting reported as spam. If people can't find the unsubscribe link, the next thing they can find, they can definitely find the spam button. So it's definitely not spammy. But here's the thing: when people are on your email list and you're emailing them regularly, it's easy to have this perception that when you send an email, well, that's like you showing up at their house and being like, what's with this place? It's not. They joined your email list. They're at your house. So if they come round and sit on the sofa and they don't like your cat and they don't like the wallpaper and they start to complain, they can piss off. They can leave because you wouldn't stand up for that in your house. And they're in your house. I'll tell you why I know they're in your house. You're not in theirs. They're in your house because they decided to come over. They joined your email list. 2, you pay for the house. You host the email marketing platform. You've probably paid either in time, effort, or money to get them to come over in the first place.
Yeah.
So they're definitely in your house.
I think that's a great way of thinking about it, and probably how most people don't, because we tend to think our emails and our marketing is an intrusion on people's life. And really, this is saying the opposite is true when it's your email marketing that they've chosen to be a part of, and they can choose to leave at any time. And if they do, let them go. So, um,
Let me
I
tell
know,
is it okay if I tell you my favorite thing about emailing more frequently?
please
And this
do,
is like
yeah.
the ultimate hack. And I don't think I've really ever shared this before on a podcast. I shared it in some private workshops recently, and I think this is really interesting. I hope you'd agree that for each of us in our businesses and our unique situation, if people really understood what it is you could do for them, if they really understood, if you just had the perfect way to describe what it is you do and how much you help, more of your audience would buy, right?
Yeah.
So here's the thing. If I email once a week, every time I email, I am trying out a new, different way of describing what I do. It's what I get to do. Every single time I send an email, I get to try some other new, unique way. I might describe it in a more exciting way, or I might describe it this time with social proof. I'm describing it in different ways. I'm highlighting a different element, a different feature, a different benefit each time. If I'm emailing once a week, it's going to take me 7 weeks to come up with the same amount of chances of discovering that same message that hits a home run that really resonates as when I send an email every single day. If I'm emailing 7 days a week and you're emailing once a week, I'm going to discover the perfect message in 7 days, 1 week. That's going to take you 7 weeks to do. And what's really awesome, and here's the real cheat, is every time I send an email that hits hard, gets high opens, lots of clicks, and makes me sales or inquiries or bookings or appointments, when I do that, I open that email very excited, like a kid on Christmas Day, and I look at what was it about? Who did I mention? What was the thing? Was it about my cat? Was it about this? Was it about that? What was the element of the thing? Was it about the fact I love musical theater? It was that. That's what's resonating. Guess what I do? I queue that email up to be used again. I go to my sales page and I update it. I go to my ads, I update that. I look at my keynotes, I update that because I know for a fact with data, not with my feelings, not with interpretation. I know for a fact with data that this angle, there's something about the things I said in that email which makes the audience go, which makes my audience go, I get it. And now I get to reuse that across every platform, every interaction at every point of the funnel. And that's the ultimate cheat. I can write sales pages and release sales pages which sell products like crazy really quickly because I get to test the message loads.
Yeah. No, I know because I am, part of your community and you've been in your programs. I've got that one of the lifetime membership courses as well. And I know that this is just scratching the surface of what you do and what's available. And that it should be exciting rather than overwhelm people. They just hopefully already seeing and understanding just what is possible with email marketing and how much more you can do and access and build trust and improve sales and so much more. So I really appreciate all this, and maybe hope you might come back again that we can go into some other elements that we
I would love that.
just don't have time for today. If you'd be open to that, that would be wonderful. But given that I don't want to let you have some of your day back because as much as I could keep going on talking to you, and I think you definitely won the competition for tallest hair today. I was trying to compete, but
Yeah, it's Battle of the Quiffs today.
it is, isn't it? I was noticing this on the screen. It's like, yeah, I need to do some work on mine, so to get out to the same sort of level. But I am curious what your favorite musical is. I know you're a big fan of musical theatre, so
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's a really difficult question. At the moment, my favorite musical, I think, is something called Operation Mincemeat, which is currently in London. It's about to go on tour across the UK. It's a comedy about a real operation they did during the Second World War, but it's very funny. It's had more five-star reviews than any show in West End theatre history, which is incredible. So that's good. Classics-wise, there's a great production of Oliver in the West End right now with a very good friend of mine called Simon Lipkin, who's playing Fagin, who's just incredible. Yeah, those are two great shows right now.
fantastic. I'm very old school with my musicals. Cabaret is my favorite. West Side Story after that. I definitely will
Interesting.
check out some of the more modern
Are you
ones
are you a
that
Les Mis fan as well?
not so much.
Interesting, because I love Les Mis, but
Mm.
also I don't like West Side Stories. That's interesting.
It is interesting. Perhaps it's like I like the sort of camper, generally happy stuff. Although West Side Story isn't that happy, but
Happy at all. But I one of
it's
my other
not.
favorite shows is if anyone's not seen the show Kinky Boots, it's freaking amazing.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in New York, and I must admit I was a little bit jet lagged when I went to see it, but it was a lot of fun. Although hearing what was supposed to be Northampton accents with an American twang was a little weird for someone who used to
That
live
is
in
strange.
Northampton.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
strange.
But for our listener, I'm sure they want to check out more about you. So we know you got the podcast. What's the best way for people to come and find out more about email marketing?
Yeah, I mean, our brand is Email Marketing Heroes, so you can definitely go check out the website at emailmarketingheroes.com. You can come and check out the podcast, Email Marketing Show. And honestly, if you want to just come and think about how to apply this stuff to your particular situation with your offers, your brand, your business, your voice, and the way you like to do things, then come and join our free Facebook group. It's called the Email Marketing Show Community. Just go to Facebook, search for the Email Marketing Show Community. You'll be more than welcome. You'll have the option, and it is optional, to join our email list at that point. Start seeing these emails and see this stuff in action, and then we can take it from there.
Awesome sauce. I promise we'd be done well in time, and we're not. So my apologies for that because it's just been so damn interesting. But Kennedy, thank you so much for coming and sharing this amazing insights, knowledge on Present Influence. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Just while I've been editing the episode, I realized I had to come in and say I recognize that we didn't get to cover the part about getting your followers off your socials and into your email list. Kennedy has said he will come back onto the show, so undoubtedly we will get to that point next time. But I hope that everything in here was great for you, especially as speakers who can now use the tools that Kennedy was suggesting at your events and get more subscribers from the places where you are talking, whether you're talking for free or you're getting paid. There are people who could be on your email list, getting you even more income and opportunity. So I hope that has been plenty of value for you in this episode, and apologize that it's partly my fault for allowing things to run so much over on time that we didn't get to cover the bit about moving people off your social media and into your email list, but something to look forward to for the future. Well, that was an absolute masterclass in modern email marketing without any fluff or fakery. So if this episode lit a fire under you, go and check out Kennedy's World. Join the Email Marketing Show community on Facebook. I'll see you there. Subscribe to the Email Marketing Show podcast. I listen every week. And if you're serious about building up an audience that buys, hit up emailmarketingheroes.com. You can check the link in the show notes. I am an affiliate. I will be honest about that. So if you do go and check it out through the link in the show notes, and you decide to sign up, I might get a small payment. But I think we could consider that a fair exchange for introducing you to something as awesome as Kennedy's work with email marketing. And while you're here, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap that bell so you never miss an episode. And hey, if you are ready to step up your speaking game and turn more stage time into income, check out my charisma quiz at presentinfluence.com/quiz. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the inbox.